What up, Jipperlopers? L-Play's back with some delicious No Man's Sky next news today, as we have had some major tweaks and updates with the recent 1.59 patch, and now we finally got access to the latest experimental patch notes on PC for what will be update 1.6 as soon as it's rolled out as an official patch. And this one fixes the major issue that I've been waiting for since Next dropped, so I'm pretty freaking excited today. Before we get into that, let's talk about something else Hello Games have started doing, which is very, very cool. Hashtag say hello, because the 1.59 patch notes also dropped a small community message for the first time ever, as well as a little peek into the content and features that we're going to be getting soon in future updates. This is the first time we've ever seen this kind of communication from them. It's the closest we've ever had to an actual roadmap of upcoming content. They've started to let us look beneath the curtains and started teasing features and future content before it even hits the experimental builds. And that is pretty amazing. They really are looking to communicate with us more than they ever have done before, and I am definitely pretty pleased about this. So in this video, I'm going to go over all of the major features and big fixes from 1.59 and the 1.6 experimental patch notes. We'll do that in a moment, and you'll see the full patch notes for both of those in this video. But before that, let's talk about some of the other cool new things they've done with the 1.59 messaging. So in the little notes on the website, they actually showcase some really beautiful community screenshots and artwork from you guys out there on the official Hello Games website, along with that roadmap and those patch notes. And honestly, this is one of the coolest things that I've seen so far, because it really shines the spotlight on us and the cool stuff that we do as a community and the cool things that we create. And that has always been a huge part of what makes No Man's Sky so great. It's us, it's the community that's built up around the game, the people that love the game and invest so much time and effort into the game and outside of the game, you know, making these beautiful pictures and artwork and videos and all of that kind of stuff. So it's really nice to see that being celebrated. But let's take a little look at the message itself. No Man's Sky has always been a game that is built on the community and the stories that you generate. The beautiful screenshots, shared discoveries, fan art, stories, comics. These are incredibly inspiring to the team. It's a privilege to work on a game with such a passionate community. And then they've got some really cool pictures there. Beautiful little sketch that someone has created and some really cool screenshots from the game. There's a really funny one with this giant freaking huge beak creature, which just makes me giggle every time I look at it. And yeah, I just wanted to say like a huge shout out to Sin City, Iron Zerg, Glaznark, and Painfully Minty, all Reddit users that have been selected for this first little showcase that they've done. Congrats to you guys. And of course, a couple of Irish folk, which we all know and love on Twitter as Ray Reynolds, because his screenshots and his wallpapers were featured, and they've actually said that they wanted to give a special shout out to him because his screenshots feature as the wallpaper on more than one computer or phone among the Hello Games team. So that is just crazy to think the stuff that we create, especially stuff that Ray has created here in the office right now at Hello Games, they're using that for their phone screensaver, their PC backgrounds. Like, this is clearly a team that loves the community and loves the game that they're working on. So that's just, I don't know, there's something really cool about seeing that and hearing that. So yeah, well done to all of you guys for becoming a part of No Man's Sky history, and thank you, Hello Games. Hopefully we see more stuff like this in the future. It's nice to know that they love us. But now the time has come. There are some amazing changes with these two patches, and I want to talk about them. We've got fixing an issue that prevents shared bases from downloading while exploring. So this is one that's in the experimental notes for 1.6, and we'll touch on that in a minute, but that's the big one for me. They've added new attack behaviors to the biological horrors, as if they weren't freaking terrifying enough. Now they spit their putrid acid at our faces, so we can't get away with hopping across the buildings like me and Jared do whenever we try and loot the eggs. Damn things. Another really cool one, they've enabled terrain tessellation on PS4 and Xbox One X, and that does include the base PS4. So if you're playing on a standard PS4, you still will get the terrain tessellation, and for those that don't know, that's basically going to make the scenery and the terrain that you're on pop that much more and stand out a little bit more than it ever did before. So anything like that that's going to make the game look better is such a cool thing, and it's cool to see that finally coming over to the console. Now, another really big one that is absolutely insane and I cannot wait to play around with is new custom options for body shapes of our characters. So when we go to the character customization modifier, we can actually choose the body shape of our little characters. So I can have a little Gek hero that looks really big and strong and muscly, or I can make him a super tiny little fat Gecker and that is probably what I'm going to do because it looks hilarious, and this is just really cool. It makes so much sense. Anything that lets us customize our characters more in a game that's building on the multiplayer aspects is just such a good thing, and I'm really glad to see this dropping with the updates. They also hinted at some new story elements potentially here. This is kind of a little bit of speculation, so just keep that in mind. But where they were talking about the community events, they've asked a couple of questions in that wording there. You know, things like, why do Nada and Polo want the hex cores? Why are they gathering this data? What's the purpose? And to me, that seemed like a little bit of foreboding, and I'm hoping at the end of this first season of community events, when we come out of the back of that, they're going to kind of tie all this together, and it won't just be, yay, congratulations, you did some fetch quests, you went and did these basic missions, and you had fun, and that's it. I'm hoping at the end of it, we might get a little story wrap up for why they needed this data and what they were actually going to do with it. Hopefully we'll see something like that, even if it's quite brief, but some way of tying it all together to give it this cool purpose. You know, we did all of this stuff, and now look what happens. Like, that would be really cool. So hopefully that's what they're hinting at with these little questions here. And another cool thing that I've pulled out from the wording here is that they seem to be hinting at finally working on actual new content and features that they want to get to pretty soon, as soon as they're finished with all of these minor tweaks and updates and a lot of the fixes that they're dealing with since Next. They've said, as we continue development, more of the team will become free to work on new features. We want to involve the community in shaping these features and hope to share some of this plan with you in the next few weeks. Thank you for being here with us as we continue to develop No Man's Sky Next, and we hope you enjoy all our improvements and expansions to the game. So this to me sounded really cool, because it sounds like they're getting to that point where they're finally starting to have worked through most of the major fixes, and we're on the horizon now where they can see that bit in the future where they can actually sideline or free up some of the team members and get them working on brand new stuff, like big new features, big new content, the kind of stuff that we might see in updates, even if it's only like one thing at a time. And they want to listen to us, so if we've got cool ideas for stuff that we'd like to see, we know that they're looking at that, we know they're paying attention on Twitter, on Reddit, we know they're listening to that feedback. So hopefully this is kind of the precursor to us seeing some really cool new stuff, and not just the fixes and tweaks and little upgrades that they're doing with the patches mostly at the moment. So that is really exciting, because it sounds like we're finally getting to that tipping point where things are starting to stabilize now, things are starting to become really smooth and clean, and now we're going to see some bigger stuff coming in the coming weeks and months. So yeah, I'm pretty excited, and I don't think there's ever been a bad time to be a No Man's Sky fan, but right now is definitely still a very good time to be one. So that's some of the cool stuff from the first part of this video, but now I want to talk about the 1.6 new additions, new fixes that we can see on the experimental patch notes. And if you are on experimental, you can actually jump in and try some of this stuff out right now, and it is pretty freaking cool. But if not, this will be rolled up into the 1.6 patch and pushed out officially pretty soon, so you won't have to wait too long with any luck. So the first big one that jumped out, of course, and I think most of us have probably seen this now if you're on Twitter or Reddit, was the addition of new landing pads to the space anomalies and the Atlas stations. So if you go to an Atlas station or an anomaly right now and you fly into land, instead of being the one little landing pad when you go into the doors, there are now 4 of them. And this is pretty cool because it's really building on that multiplayer basis for the game. So if you have been playing a co-op game like me and Jared were, if you've been playing with some of your friends, you can actually kind of do all of this stuff properly together now. There are 4 landing pads, you can all fly in, you can all land together, you can all go and pick up the missions, you can all fly out together, and it's just kind of tying up those loose ends and making that multiplayer co-op type stuff a lot smoother and a lot more functional than it has been up until now. So they're clearly trying to build on that, and I'm sure they're going to do a load more stuff just to improve the way that that's integrated for when you're playing with your friends. So yeah, that's pretty cool. They've also added the ability to untag markers. This is something that drives me crazy. I will mark something on the map that I want to go to, and then once I've got there and I want to go somewhere else, or I've changed my mind and I don't want to go there, I can't untag it, and I get confused about which one I'm trying to go to. So this is just one of those small quality of life improvements that makes a huge difference. If I change my mind or I get the resource that I needed, I can untag the marker I've got off on the distance and put it somewhere else. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased to see that one. They've also added text chat functionality to the orb multiplayer on PC, so this is quite interesting. Now when you bump into another orb, you will have the ability to talk via text. That's pretty cool, especially for people like me. I hope this comes over to consoles, because most of the time when I'm playing and I'm recording, I of course have my voice chat turned off because I'm trying to make a video and I can't record voice chat and my actual recording recording mic at the same time, so I have to kind of separate those two things. It would be nice if I could still just drop a little message to someone, even if it was like little auto text things like hey, hi, or, you know, nice to see you or something like that. That kind of thing is definitely the kind of stuff that I want to see being added, and I'm pretty pleased about that one as well. I mentioned the new behaviors for the biological horrors. Terrifying. Even more terrifying. The little jippers are going to be even harder to deal with now. The damn things. Basically, they're getting to the point where if you see them, you better just run. It's not worth it. Just let it go. Forget the eggs. Find a new way to make money. Go start a farm somewhere. And then another new one is they've allowed exocraft geobays to be built on top of other structures. So this is going to allow for some really cool building stuff. There's also some new building parts that we're getting as well with these updates. So anything that improves the stuff that we can build is definitely a huge win for me. Building in No Man's Sky Next has become a complete game on its own, if you ask me. I can spend hours and hours and hours just building a little cabin. So if you wanted to, you could spend a lifetime just building insane structures, buildings, bases, cities, anything you want. And the more options and variety we've got to how we can do that and how we can approach it is just, yeah, that's just awesome. They fixed the issue where all of the NPCs sounded like Vy'keen, which was also a big one they needed to fix. My little Gek heroes need to sound like Gek. I don't want no Vy'keen when I'm talking to my little Gek friends. So that should be fixed now with these latest updates. And they've also added the ability for quick menu key binding for PC players only. I wish there was something like this on PlayStation and Xbox, if only for one thing. The ability to map taking a screenshot to one button or one combo button or something like that would be insane, because at the minute when I try and scroll through the menus and take a picture, I always miss the moment I'm trying to capture or the pose that I'm trying to capture. If you're playing on PC, all you've got to do now is assign it to one of the numbers, and that will let you just tap that number and you'll carry out that action. So if it's doing one of the emotes or taking a screenshot or something like that, you can do that in a single button press, which is really good. And I hope they find some way to do that for taking a picture. The other stuff I'm not as bothered about on console. We know we're never going to be able to map everything like you can on a PC, but being able to just press a single button to take a screenshot would be incredible. So hopefully that one thing comes to console in the future. So there you go, Hello Games. There's my suggestion. There's my community feedback. Let me take a picture instantly when I do something funny with my little Gek. And there was one other thing that's not mentioned here, but I've seen in the experimental update, which is pretty insane, and that is a new dancing emoji, which basically looks like something you would see in Fortnite. It's pretty funny. It kind of reminds me of the Guardians of the Galaxy dance type thing. It looks funny. It's pretty wild. Hopefully they do more little funny things like that, because I'm pretty sure that's going to make for some funny memes and videos. So yeah, that's pretty cool as well. And I'm guessing they're going to add loads of more emotes as they go on developing stuff. So yeah, that'll be fun to see. But now there was the one that I really cannot wait for when it finally drops on consoles, when it makes it across in the full patch. And that is them fixing the issue that could prevent other players' bases from downloading while you were exploring. You guys know that we've got the Jipper Colony hub world of Toyn Gamma on every single platform at the moment. But right now, whenever I go there, I can only see like 1 or 2 bases, even though I know there are tons of bases there. You guys are posting in the Discord, you're showing me amazing pictures of the stuff that you've built, and I just can't see it when I drop down onto the planet and go and look for it, and it makes me super sad. It's honestly had me a little bit down since Next drop that I can't see the stuff that you guys are building, and it sounds like they've now fixed that with this latest experimental update. So when that gets rolled out, when 1.6 drop on consoles, I'm hoping finally when I go back to Toyn Gamma, all of your bases will be there and I'll be able to explore them properly. And this is absolutely freaking huge for me, because we're finally going to be able to really start colonizing the worlds that we go to and build sprawling cities and interconnected bases across the entire planet. And I just can't wait to see that on my hub worlds, but also to see what other people do on planets with the ability to actually see everyone's bases. It's just going to be awesome. Please, please actually be fixed when this update drops. I cannot wait for this one. This is the one for me. This is the one feature, the one fix that I really want to work. And if it does, I am going to be insanely hyped. So yeah, that was it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed that little recap of the updates and the upcoming update with 1.6. Or at the very least, I hope you found it useful. If you did enjoy the video, please do drop a like and a comment. You can support me that little bit extra with my Patreon. The link for that is in the description and the pinned comment. I've also got my PO box there if you want to send me any cool little Jipper gifts. And of course, please feel free to join the Jipper Colony Discord so that you can talk to all of us. But yeah, take care guys, and peace. Just want to give a very big thank you to every single one of my current Patreon supporters. Anarchy, Dale from the Atlas Hub, Vogear, David D, Dead D Reza, Forgotten Stoner, Heath, Husband Vader, Exo, Joanne Zay, Johnny, Good Handed, Lukash M, Mac for a Day, Madeline J, Malin Dog, Mark F, Amras, Neil B, NTB, Ongrad, Autumn Long, Paul Lawson, Rasmus K, Legion 245, Shirocco Magelli, Samwise Gekji, The Golden Gek, The Portrait Dude, Todd C, Todd H, Ty the Blazer, Vanilla, and Wyo. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.